A one and a two and a chick-a-boom a chick.
Remodelers on the Rise listeners, it is Bailey. What you're about to hear is a clip from our weekly VIP Club call. Every week, the VIP Club meets from 2 to 3 o'clock Eastern Time for a live call with training and some Q&A where Kyle will dig into the 6 main systems of your remodeling business. Today's topic is leadership. Enjoy.
When it comes to leadership, while there are some principles and characteristics that we're going to kind of review and remind ourselves or learn about today, leadership is very nuanced. It depends on so many different factors. The way that you lead that new framing crew, Brian, might be very different than the way that you lead that carpenter that you have. The way that you lead your office manager or office position person might be very different than how you lead a key trade partner of yours that you have relationship with day in and day out. Leadership is nuanced. It's part of what makes it a challenge. It's part of kind of a never-ending, how do we lead and motivate and encourage and draw out the best in the team that we have, while at the same time making it a wonderful experience and place for them to work. So, leadership, 6 characteristics. So let's look at some characteristics that I think define great leaders. Number 1, great leaders listen well. Great leaders listen well. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. Show of hands if maybe that has been you in the last month. Sometimes, hey Bailey, mute for a second. Sometimes, Bailey will say something and be talking about something, and I already know what I'm going to say, and I don't even listen to the sentences that she's actually saying because I already have my response ready. Did you unmute, Bailey?
Mm-hmm.
Told you to stop listening because I was talking.
Oh, I thought you said unmute.
No, I was trying to.
You were talking about me in front of my back. I was listening, and I had no idea how I was going to respond.
Oh, good. Being present. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. And it's something that's just so natural, especially for all of us on here that are very smart and that we already know the answers a lot of times. Great leaders listen well. Some best practices related to that. Make eye contact. This is something that I've noticed over the years. I've actually worked on it more and more over the last number of years. Making good eye contact is not something that comes naturally for me, but as I've practiced it more, it's gotten easier. Great leaders listening well. Make eye contact. This next bullet says, wherever you are, be there. Wherever you are, be there. This one means so much to me. I've had that little sticky note. It's been on my desk for a long, long time. And it says, wherever you are, ... to remind me of this. I think a lot of times, if I'm not careful, my mind can be totally somewhere else instead of when I'm having a conversation with the person in front of me. And this phrase, it's a Jim Rohn quote, wherever you are, be there, is a good reminder of leaders listen well, and you may have a lot of different things that you're thinking about, and your phone just buzzed, and you're wondering who texted you, and 2 hours from now, you've got that meeting that's going on. Wherever you are, be there. Be present in that conversation. Actually and truly listen. A couple other tips related to the leaders listen well. Seek to understand, not to be understood, and ask the right questions. A lot of times as we're listening, instead of seeking to understand and asking some follow-up questions and not assuming you already have the answer, or even asking questions of, well, what have you tried so far related to this problem? What are you kind of thinking as the next step related to this key employee of mine, wonderful employee of mine? Have you considered the following yet? I think it's natural for a lot of inexperienced leaders to just immediately answer questions with answers. They ask you a question, they present something, we just give them the answer. And when we answer questions with questions, we seek to understand better, we understand the context of things better, and we are also indirectly / directly helping our team members learn and grow and take on more responsibility and engage their brains on how to do this. So I think this is, again, we're talking about, characteristics of great leaders, and this is a growth area for a lot of us. And then kind of sharing, even in my case, it's a growth area. Asking questions like, what's on your minds? How can I help you? Any concerns that you have? Really drawing some things out from your team members. Great leaders listen well, and we're also asking questions to get kind of to the root of how they're doing, what's going on, how well they're enjoying their work, etc. Good. I did this. Bailey, you were off on Monday Monday afternoon, and we haven't talked a lot since then. But Cassie is a full-time employee on my team, and we had a meeting that afternoon. And after we got done with things, I said, Cassie, don't be alarmed, because sometimes when I ask you like direct questions, it kind of freaks you out. Like you're wondering why I'm asking you. Nothing's coming at the end of this. Don't worry, you're not getting fired. She's still in that phase, even though she's been here for 10 months. She's like, wait, what's going on? And I said, like, hey, how are you enjoying things? It's been like 6 months. It's been like 3 months since I asked you that. Like, what are you really enjoying about your job? And what's an area or two that you're not liking as much? And I just gave her a little bit of time to think about that. I have not slowed down enough in the last 3 months or so to just have that kind of conversation with her. And then I was listening intently. It was all good things, by the way, Bailey. We'll talk about it later. But I think with our team, great leaders listen well. Great leaders are asking questions like that. We want to know what's going on in their minds. We want them to know how they're enjoying things. Great leaders listen well. That's number one. All right. Number two, great leaders know their people well. Can you tell when an employee is having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month? And somebody unmute and share their answer to this, if you would. Is it your responsibility to kind of try and help? What's your thoughts on that? If you see somebody, people's days kind of ebb and flow. People's moods kind of ebb and flow. From a leadership standpoint, would you say it's your responsibility to kind of try and help when you notice an employee is a little cranky or having a bad day, or you've seen them kind of down a little bit? Somebody unmute or raise their hand and answer that, if you would.
I would say depends on how frequent it is.
Mm-hmm.
If it's constant, then it would get more into the manipulation and coddling area. But
tell me more about that. Them manipulating and coddling, or you manipulating and coddling?
Them manipulating, me coddling, me making sure they aren't in a bad mood, or me treating them, coddling them, so to try and get them out of a bad mood, so to speak. If they're not someone who is normally in a bad mood, then they're having an off day, I think it's fine to check in on them, but ultimately not their therapist. But if they're constantly up and down, pouty, that's on them.
It's affecting the mood on the jobs. It's affecting the mood in the office. It's affecting the mood on, of other team members. Even the way you started to answer that of like, it kind of depends if it's regular. And it goes back to like leadership is nuanced. Like when do I kind of press in a little bit? When do I kind of just let it be and let it work itself out? Maybe it is time for, me to step in and address some of that friction I'm seeing between that team member and that team member. Other times it might be good for me to just let them work that out and not interject myself. Leadership is nuanced. I think when it comes to the thought of this side of things, I think it seems like there's maybe a little bit of a generational shift, where if we were having this beautiful Zoom call on June 4th, 1998, I don't think we would have been able to Zoom call in 1998. But we'd all hit our dial up, we'd dial in and we'd have our video conference. I think some people would be a little bit more like, no, like they're on the field, like be grown-ups. Like I don't need to check in on their mood every day, like work. And for better or for worse, I think we're more, a lot of you, and I know I speak for myself even, and other clients of mine, are a little bit more proactive when people are seemingly struggling over the course of the week. This is up to you. How do you want to lead your team? Do you want to be a leader where you do have a pretty good pulse on, if an employee's having a bad day, if an employee's having, a bad week? I think it's very important when we think about how your team's performing to consider, where is their stress level at? Sometimes their stress level is high because of things that are going on at work and just their straight up workload. Other times their stress level is high and it has nothing to do with their work with you. It's something to do outside of work. I think it's very important to know your people well when it comes to the workload and capacity of your team members. Team members that have been there for a few years may be able to take on more work and handle more things you throw at them than somebody that's in their first 6 months with you, and they need to develop that skill. I think oftentimes as leaders, we're not checking in as regularly as we should on where your team members' workload and capacity is at. And if it's beyond capacity and they're spread thin, their workload's going to suffer. And as a leader, you may need to kind of proactively help them manage that. Yes, consider know your people well. How is their do they need encouragement? Do they need clarity in their role? Is there something you need to take off their plate? Number two, go ahead, please.
Because they also need to know that you care.
Yes.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that important, do you
think? Because I think caring has this side effect of getting people to follow you better than. I'm not putting that right.
No, you're good.
I just, I look at the 4 guys that work for me, and I want them to know that I care, and I care about what's going on in their lives, and I care about them as people, and we're all out here to do the same end task. So if there's something going on, let's chat about it.
Some business owners don't have that mindset. I pay you well. I'm not your best friend. Let's go. Okay. If you want to run your business that way, it's your call. I think a lot of people understand that work and business, it's people that work for you, that is a big chunk of their life. And if they're miserable, if they're stressed, if they don't feel like they're growing, if they don't feel respected, if they don't feel like you care, that has a direct correlation to their enjoyment and work. That has a direct correlation of the longevity with your work. There's a lot to do with their loyalty towards you and your company. So absolutely show that you care. 6 characteristics that define great leaders. Number 3, leans into healthy conflict. Doesn't shy away from it. Healthy conflict. Good phrase to learn. This is something that has definitely has resonated with people over time, and has been something where, I need to do more of that. Inevitably, when we are dealing with issues that pop up, when we are dealing with the interpersonal relationships amongst your team members and your trade partners, when you have multiple people that you're trying to manage while you're running the business, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be issues. There's going to be challenges. And this idea of I lean into healthy conflict. I don't shy away from it. When something needs to be addressed, I lean into it because I am a good leader. Some thoughts related to this. Don't ignore conflict. The majority of the time, when you know something needs to be addressed and you put it off, the end result is not good. That team member that just needed to kind of be corrected and put a little boundary or a little bit of training ends up being so frustrated they leave. Worse than that, the number of times I have heard one of my remodeling clients on the other end of a call say, well, John has left because of Larry. That story, Larry is the bad seed who needed to be fired 6 months ago. We put it off, and we put it off, and we put it off. And then John, the superstar employee, is so fed up with dealing with Larry and picking up the slack and correcting his stuff and dealing with his bad attitude that John finally says, peace out, I'm out of here. I've heard that story too many times over the years. Don't ignore conflict. Lean into healthy conflict. How else do we do that? Clarify what the issue is. Half the battle is just getting clear on what is the issue. And there's very few people who like conflict, who like to argue, who like to go back and forth. But as a business owner, conflict is inevitable, and we need to lean into it a little bit. And when there's an issue, let's clarify what the issue is. Tell me, I think I know what's going on here. Rob, I think I know what's going on here, Todd, but tell me, like, what's the issue from your standpoint? And then you might also go talk to the other person. Number 3, bring involved parties together to talk. This is awkward sometimes, but it's what professional people do. Lean into healthy conflict. Listen to both sides. Make sure they're listening to each other, not talking over each other. Or you're talking directly to that team member that you need to have a conversation with. They are consistently, for example, they're consistently showing up late. You might clarify what the issue is. Hey, we need to sit down and just address this. We've talked about it a little bit, but you are consistently late. What's going on? What is causing this? Sometimes just getting clear on that, and then get real clear with what the problem is. Bring it together. Number 4, identify a solution. Identify a solution. Here's what we're going to change. Here's what we're going to do. And number 5, continue to monitor and follow up on the conflict or the situation. Good leaders lean into healthy conflict. I would say number 5 on there is one of the most important aspects of this. I see over the years a lot of people who have a good sit down, have a good meeting, talk about an issue. Everybody feels so much better after that. They might even identify a solution, and then they don't really set any kind of follow-up on it. They don't really continue to monitor it. It's like, oh, I feel so much better. I took care of that. Done. We need to follow up on that. So number 4, characteristics of great leaders. Number 4, provide vision and room for growth. Provide vision and room for growth. Good leaders cast a vision for their business. And number 2, they cast a vision for their employees and team members. When we think about casting a vision for the business, and by the way, there's a great business vision lesson and recording that's just specific for casting a vision for your business in the RemoDelersVIPClub.com. If you just type in vision in the search box, you'll find it. But thinking about on the business side, what is your business all about? Talk about that. What does your business stand for? Your core values. Where is your business going is kind of maybe one of the bigger parts of this. If you have good team members and you are kind of just haphazard and I don't know, as far as where the business is going, a lot, especially your good team members, are not going to be attracted to that. They're putting a lot of their future on your shoulders, which is a very sobering thing, an exciting thing as well. And we need to make sure we're giving them something that they can be excited about, that you do have a vision for where you're going in your business and what you're all about and what we stand for and where we're heading. Of course, we don't have a perfect crystal ball, but I would say as I watch, even in my business, and I watch a lot of clients over the years, when they cast a bit of a vision for their business, a couple things happen. One, it makes it a lot likelier that that's going to happen for them, and growth will happen, whatever that might look like for you. And number 2, it does get their team members excited for being a part of it. So great leaders provide a vision and room for growth. And as far as they cast a vision for their employees, if employees don't see an opportunity to grow or improve or thrive, I kind of see that one of two things happen. C employees stay. C-level employees, ABC, C-level employees, they stay. They don't really care that much, so there's not an important opportunity to grow, or hey, you're not doing much training, or you've never sent them off to any kind of training or invested in, how to help them become a better leader. That's fine. They'll just stay. It is what it is, just a job. But when we're not providing kind of a vision and some room for growth and a path for A-level employees, they leave. So it's important. Some of this is also just even sitting down and having conversations and asking your team members, how fulfilled are you feeling? How are we doing? Is there more that you want to be doing? Is there less, a certain thing that you're doing that you want less? And I know that, some employees just need to do things that aren't their favorite, and that's reality. But checking in on this leads to loyalty, longevity, and frankly, it's what good leadership looks like. It is very rare that a business is growing and their team members are happy and content with where they're working, and their team members are taking on responsibilities and getting better at what they do, without a leader that's really being proactive with that and having those conversations and providing room for growth and knowing what that looks like. So leaders listen well. They know their people well, lean into healthy conflict, provide vision and room for.
Those were the first 4. If you want to hear the last 2 ways to be a great leader, you got to join the VIP Club. Visit our website, remodelersontherise.com, and click on VIP Club to learn about how you can dig into not only our live weekly calls with Kyle, but also 70 hours of pre-recorded trainings and courses that VIP members have at their disposal. Visit today and leave a review if you enjoyed this episode.